Hey, everybody. Adam Pohl, Gary Helt with you here today for our Crofton Chamber podcast, our bi-weekly podcast presented by Severn Bank. And we're so happy to have with us Scott Taggart of Ledo Pizza here this afternoon as we take a look into how they've been doing, of course, in a tough time in the restaurant industry, but undoubtedly excited for what is ahead in 2021. We want to say, as we get going today, a huge thank you to Severn Bank, our main sponsor of this podcast. Severn Bank understands that we measure life by significant moments like buying a home, securing your business, planning for your children's educations, and your first savings account. Severn can help you navigate safely through life's changes to help you achieve your goals of personal service that only your community bank can offer. Severn stands with you. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, and credit is subject to approval. So as we get going, Gary, this is your first time co-hosting here on this pod. Thank you so much for being with us. Gary, take a moment to say hello and tell us a little bit about what you do.
I appreciate being here. Gary Helt with Small Business Advisors. We take care of people's accounting and tax needs. We definitely work with business owners to help them reduce their taxes, and on average, we're able to reduce their taxes by 37%. So this time of year, with everything that's going on with COVID and all the tax law changes that keep coming to us, we're pretty busy right now, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I know Gary's been helping secure those loans and everything as well for different businesses and everything that goes into that. And we're so happy to have with us Scott today, Scott Taggart. Scott, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there, with everything that's going on. I mean, we're still trucking along.
That's wonderful. You got to tell us, I mean, when people think about restaurants from this part of the country, the first Ledo Pizza was, of course, in College Park, right?
Correct.
And when people think about those brands and those things that make you think about home, make you think about Maryland, you got to be so proud to represent and bring forth something that brings that feeling of home to people.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I got into this 23 years ago, and the number one thing for me was to get in the community and with the kids and the Boys and Girls Clubs and, the families. And that was important to me. And I think we've been pretty successful at doing that, which is why we've been able to stay afloat through this rough time.
Yeah.
Now, Scott, you obviously, you bring up the Boys and Girls Club and families and stuff. I mean, you have always been very generous in the community and giving back. Looking at, even now during these tough times, you've continued doing that. And that's part of your business model. So, tell us, some about, how has that changed things for you?
So this school year, we moved everything to online and carry out and try to keep everybody out of the dining room and keep everybody as safe as we could through all of this. The fundraisers have still been pretty strong with the stronger schools. Mm-hmm. They've done a good job of coming out and supporting and taking care of my staff. And all in all, I couldn't ask for it to go any smoother than it has gone. I miss seeing the kids running around the dining room and, acting crazy and tearing it up, but we'll be back to that by next school year, I believe.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, there's got to be some excitement looking forward because, there are some people that think that so much of the culture that we've adapted to in this year plus is going to stay the same. But Scott, for me and my long time working with the Bowie Bay Sox, there's really kind of a feel like, man, everybody cannot wait to get out, get back to life, get into restaurants and be together again. What do you think?
No, I absolutely agree with you. I don't think it's going to come back immediately to back to the way it was before. If you're asking, that's my opinion. The high-end restaurants, you'll see them come back much quicker because you can't bring that home with you. You can still bring pizza home with you. Mm-hmm. Just last night I was at Luna's Steakhouse. I mean, my daughter's birthday, and that's where she wanted to go. And they're starting to see more traffic come through there. because you're not getting that to go. I think it's going to take a little longer. And once everybody gets their shots and we move forward, you'll see the kids and the families back in those restaurants again. But I don't think it's going to be immediate. I think it's going to take a little bit of time. People, again, I can't thank the public enough and my customers enough that the ones that would come in every Friday night to eat inside, they've come in and they've picked up carry out and ordered online and kept everything going, kept the numbers pretty close for me. And I really appreciate that. Like I said, it'll start to dwindle back, and it's just going to take a little longer for everybody to feel comfortable, in my opinion.
So Scott, with you've been here in Crofton for a long time, live here, been part of the community, everything else, and now you've branched out into Bowie. Can you tell us some about the restaurant in Bowie and how does it differ from the one here in Crofton?
Well, it's like night and day, and it's it's like a little over 5 miles from each other. And what we sell over there and what we sell here, obviously we sell pizza. That's still number one, no matter what. But over there, I didn't get a chance to really get, my feet dug, my heels dug in the ground over there with doing the same thing with the schools and the kids and the families. We were open 5 months, and the next thing you know, we're closed.
Right.
I do have a full bar over there, and those patrons have, when we're allowed to be open, have continued to support. And we've almost gone in that direction over there through all of this, catering to those people because they were willing to come out and come in and support that way. Once we get back to, I guess, normal, then we'll go back on that journey of trying to get the kids and the families and the fundraising working over there with the schools. We have a couple of schools that we have worked with over there, right before this pandemic started, and they've done well, and they've continued to do it through the pandemic a couple of times, but not anything like we do in Crofton. But that's what my goal is going to be once we get back to normal. I mean, that's why I do this. The bar definitely helps out, and that you'd be shocked that a Ledo pizza with a bar, the bar business is 20% of the sales, and it's amazing.
Wow.
No other Ledo pizza, if they have a bar, it's 8% of their sales. That community is old school PG County, and they like what they like, and they want what they want, and I listened and did what they told me to do.
Right.
That's wonderful.
And that's really what it came down to.
Tell us, how did you get into the restaurant business? How did you get into working with Ledo Pizza? What was the whole progression of you getting into this line of work?
So for me, I grew up on Ledo Pizza. I grew up in Prince George's County, in New Carrollton, and I was friends with the Swan family, so that's why it's Eddie's place. And I played charity golf events with him, and coached his kids in baseball when I got out of college. And my mom worked for his wife, and that's how we got to know him really well. And my brother actually worked there at Eddie's place when Eddie was still around. And when he found out he was sick, he knew I was looking to make a move, and said, here's what it is, and we'll finance it. I took the books, looked at them, and said, I'll take it. And we took that store from doing $435,000 a year in sales to $2.2 million.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So, kind of back into your given to the community and everything else, you have a lot of your workers and stuff like that are kids that have, grown up in the community and stuff like that. Are you finding now, are you having problems finding staff? Do you need staff? With the pandemic and stuff, has that scared people away?
No. Staffing has never really been an issue. When we expanded that dining room and rebuilt that kitchen and built that second dining room to be able to host all the team parties, that was the first time since the beginning that I actually had to put a help wanted sign in the window.
Wow.
I mean, it sounds it's going to sound arrogant, but it's a privilege to work there, and the kids know it. And most of them, they come and they're like, "Oh, my friend needs a job," and I'm going, "Are you going to vouch for him? Because it's on you if it doesn't work out." And they're like, "Yeah, you know," and I don't coach anymore, but I coached and I got those kids, and the kids come through the fundraisers and they can't wait to come back and work there when they're old enough. The only change that's happened is we always took them at 14 years old, and we worked on one shift a week, and they just did dishes, and it's hard with minimum wage going up to do that anymore. Unless you're, again, unless you're one of my kids, one of my friends' kids, I'm not taking you at 14. I'm going to need you to get to 15 and a half before I can really bring you in there, because it's too expensive to just have you be worth nothing. And when they were making $5.15 an hour and $7 an hour, it was really easy to bring them in there on a Saturday night and have them do dishes and not really be helpful, but learn to have a job and learn to have a bank account and those kinds of things, which is the things that I make happen. That's the first thing, is before you work your first day, I need to know what your direct deposit information is, because you need to have a bank account.
Right.
So I haven't had any problems. We're going to see what happens. I've been able to keep everyone who wanted to stay. We kept through this pandemic.
Awesome.
It was somehow, some way. I mean, all the girls that worked up front, they work in the kitchen now. So, and we'll move into summer. Hopefully, coming out of this, moving into the summer. Then I got college kids coming home. So we'll be looking for mass hiring probably in September. I mean, at the end of August, middle of August, we'll start trying to get people trained moving into the fall, because I'll lose more seniors that are going to go away. And we'll be looking to replace them. But until we get back to normal, we have plenty of staff to move forward.
Yeah, Scott. I mean, I think that the way that you do business with, making sure that the kids, kind of have that bank account and do the finance and do that kind of stuff, I think is great, because there's, too many people that just want to, get them in the door and move on. They don't care. And I think that's awesome that you care enough about them to make sure that they're, on stable ground.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that was real important to me. It's like, my stores, I have two, both stores that I have, and especially Crofton, talking my 23rd year now, we've won numerous awards for things. You'll never walk in my store and see one of those awards on the wall. Those awards don't mean anything to me. My big thing is, and especially when a customer is frustrated, they need to understand that, that kid making your pizza is 15, 16 years old, and they made a mistake, and they're not out breaking into your car, and they're not out, breaking into your house. They're here earning a paycheck, learning to have a bank account, learning they have to pay taxes. And again, I just did 8 tax returns yesterday for kids. They're getting all their money back because they don't make enough, but they had to learn that it comes out of their paycheck, and then at the end of the year, you file your tax return, and the ones that their parents can't do it, I do it for them. And that's what's important to me, is that those kids get a chance, and that they aren't out there breaking into your cars and breaking into your houses, that they're earning their paycheck and earning their money.
Gary and Scott, you're gonna like it. We got to talk about our next or other sponsor of this podcast, Cheaper Than a Geek. Are you or your company frustrated with your computers and technology? Well, give Cheaper Than a Geek a call. They take the SH out of IT. That's the best line. That is the best tagline we got. And they have won more awards for their customer service than anyone in Maryland. So give Chris a call. The number is 410-774-5180. Scott, how many times do people talk to you and try to learn how to make that sweet sauce? Huh? I mean, you probably have people talk to you about how to make that Ledo sauce all the time.
In the beginning, yeah, that was all the time in the beginning. Not so much of late. We've as a corporation, have we've actually learned to mass produce it now.
Okay.
I was one of the last stores that stopped making it in-house.
Interesting.
It took a long time for us to get it right. And now you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But it took a very long time to get to that point. And they actually, every time a new store opened, they already used the mass produced sauce in those. And there were still a couple of us old school guys that still, cooked it in the big vat and broke it down and cooked it every day and cooled it. But you wouldn't be able to tell the difference now. And I'm glad, because that's one less thing, because there's nothing worse than burning the big vat of sauce and having to throw it in the trash and start over. And we did that many, many times.
Scott, what's in all your years of being in business, I mean, what's the biggest thing that you've learned that has really stuck with you throughout the time?
Well, I definitely learned I can't make everybody happy. I mean, I sure do try, but I definitely can't. That is for sure. Yeah. I think, I mean, that's it. I mean, I think I still have stuff to learn every day. I mean, every day, every week, it's something new. I do know that when I bought that place and took over, I didn't own a screwdriver, and now if you need a tool, I got every one of them, because I had to learn how to fix everything. So I guess if you want to get down to it, if you want to own a restaurant, you don't have to know how to cook. You have to know how to fix everything.
That's great.
Sure.
Scott, before we wrap things up, tell us a little bit about some of the deals that you guys have coming up. I don't know if you have many things that are seasonal, or it's more just like weekly specials.
Yeah, so Ledo Pizza in general, there's not a lot of deals that go on. I mean, say you want the best, you pay for the best.
That's right.
But we do package things. We have we're the main sponsor for Maryland Athletics. So we had our Maryland boxes all through basketball season. You'll see them start to go away here now, and they'll come back for football and basketball again. And then we have a deal with the Ravens that really benefits the stores north of me. Those stores do really good during football season. We were within inches of closing a deal with the Redskins. I can't believe we didn't close the deal. That would have been great. We have a deal with the Capitals. So John Carlson's our guy this year.
Okay.
So we'll have the John Carlson specials that run along. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we do it. And social media, they push all of that through social media and in our posters in the windows and things like that. But they'll come up with something where we run, the $5 calzones if you order online. They do things like that.
Exactly.
Just to kind of get you that way. We're trying to really push online ordering. It takes a lot of stress off the phone calls. An example, last Friday, which it wasn't a record Friday, but it was a really good Friday. We had 303 online orders. That's 303 phone calls we didn't have to answer.
Yeah.
And that's a lot, in our business. A lot. Yeah. So that definitely helps. So the more we can push people that direction, it'll definitely help. And I'm actually, I have a meeting set up tomorrow morning at 9 that we're looking to reconfigure the carryout of the Crofton location to make it easier access in and out, more room, especially with what happened through the last year. Like I said to you at the beginning of this, I think it's going to take a while to get establishments that can be carried out and still get the same quality. It's going to take them a little longer to get back to the way it was before. So in my way of handling that's going to be is we're going to look to do a little reconfiguring there to make it more inviting for everyone instead of, Gary's probably been there on a Friday night when you're like, wow, you can't even get through the door. It's just a shame because the Bowie location mean, the carry out is huge. I
Yeah.
mean, it's huge and it's so much room and it's very inviting and you don't feel all cramped up in there. But again, we never saw this coming and back to what I said at the beginning, you took a $435,000 a year store to a $2.2 million a year store.
Mhm.
Obviously carry out went up a lot. And
Yeah.
when carry out 70% of your business, then it went to 100% of the business, but it was 70% before the pandemic. So we were always a 70-30 store, even though you had to wait at the front door on a Friday night. It's not because we can't turn the tables over.
Right.
Trust me, I can cook pizzas. We have pizzas waiting to go in the oven. It's not because I can't make them. It's because the ovens can only cook so fast.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for doing this. It's been great catching up with you, and we wish you all the best here in an awesome 2021. Hopefully, as we kind of come through this wild time.
I appreciate it. Anytime, anytime you need anything, guys, just let me know. Gary, good to see you again, buddy.
Good seeing you too, Scott.
Yep.
No doubt. This has been the Crofton Chamber Podcast. We want to say a big thank you to our sponsors once again, Severn Bank and Cheaper Than a Geek, Gary Helt, Adam Pohl, and Scott Taggart. Thanks again, everybody.